Hey good people, welcome back to Beauty and the Frizz. My name is Kara. Whether you're new or returning, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. These BYOP Shop My Eyeshadow Stash videos have become one of the things I really look forward to at the end of the month. And if you are new to this, I'll tell you a little bit about the series after the intro. But today's palette is going to be all about reflecting on 2021. So if you want to see the palette that I built and a look with the shades I chose, keep watching this video. Let me know what you think. And if makeup is your therapy and your love, and you want to connect with other enthusiasts like myself, and yes, it's okay, and some other wonderful enthusiasts, definitely consider joining the community because we'd love to have you back. All right, let's get started. So if this is your first time seeing me do a Shop My Eyeshadow Stash / BYOP video, this is a collab between myself and my friend Kelly over at Keep Beauty Real. Her channel will be listed in the description box, and this is an effort for us to put our single eyeshadow shades to work. As you'll see very soon, I have a very extensive eyeshadow collection that honestly, it's out of control. So any way that we can put our shadows to work and use them creatively, I am down for the challenge. So she and I came up with this idea to build these palettes centered around a certain theme each month so that we can use some shades that we normally don't use and also be creative. I think out of all the palettes that we've done, this is probably the one that I am most excited about because I think we started in August. So this may be the 5th one, I think. So I think I am the most excited about this one because everyone's year was different. The thing is that as a human collective, do you need a charger? That's a whole nother story. What I was trying to say was, while no one had the exact same year, like this pandemic has become kind of a shared experience as well as like a shared trauma, I think, for all of us. So while things are different, they're also the same in a way. I don't know, I'm being reflective, y'all. That's the thing. Okay, without further ado, let me show you my palette. This one might shock you a little bit, but there is a story behind every shade that I chose, and I cannot wait to share it with you. And when you're done looking at this video, definitely go check out Kelly's. I'm so excited to see what she's gonna come up with, or what she came up with. Okay, you guys, here is the palette. I know you're probably like, why is the palette laid out like this and what are these shades? But I'm gonna get into it, and they are laid out like this for a certain reason. I'd like to think this palette is a story. So let me tell it. We're gonna start with these first two shades. Now I wanna show them to you together because these were the Pantone colors of 2021. The Pantone colors for 2021 were the shades Infinite Gray and Illuminating. So Infinite Gray is a gray, Illuminating was a yellow. So let's look at these up close and let me tell you a little bit about these two shades. This first shade is the shade Underground, and it is by Pretties for Your Face. I've only shopped from this brand one time. I am no longer buying eyeshadow singles for the foreseeable future. I do like these. It is a really nice brand. So if you're looking to try some eyeshadow singles, I definitely would suggest Pretties for Your Face. Next we have Seize the Day. I'm sure I've used this in one of my BYOPs before because it is a classic gold, and this is by Sydney Grace. Now I know as far as the illuminating shade from Pantone, it's more of a yellow, but you know, these two shades are inspired by these colors of the year. So let me get into the swatches. While I do the swatches, I just wanted to mention that this BYOP collab between Kelly and I is open. It is open for anybody that wants to participate, whether you're here on YouTube as a content creator or you're on Instagram. Like, please tag us, show us these palettes. I love to see when people make their own palettes. I follow a bunch of people on Instagram that make their palettes up all the time. They have names for them and everything. And I just love seeing how other people think and how other people interpret themes. I think that's really cool. There's also a community playlist with the other BYOPs that we've done. So you can check that out, and I will link that in my description as well. So here are the first two shades, Underground and Seize the Day. So those are the first two shades of my palette. I thought those shades were so special to include because what better way to start the palette than by starting with the colors for the year. You know, I think that when Pantone did this, and I'll link it, I did a look using these two, not these actual shades, but these two colors. I think it might have been the first time where they chose two shades for the colors of the year. And I think 2021, you can have water and guac chips. You know, I think that after 2020, looking forward to a new year just took on a whole new meaning. I think there were just a lot of feelings of hope and getting back to some normalcy. I don't think we expected it to go the way that it did. But I just remember everybody was like, we just had that feeling like, I can't wait until 2020 is over. And I just think there was just this renewed sense of something better is coming, you know? And I think people feel like that generally at the end of a year. But at the end of 2020, I think we all really felt like that, you know? And so I'm not saying I'm disappointed by 2021. I'm just saying you don't really know what to expect nowadays. So let's move on to the next two shades. Now, these are the next two shades here in the palette, and you see we have a black shade and a white shade. Now, these two shades represent my dog, Camden. And I lost Cam at the end of March. So that happened early on in the year. And Camden is a rat terrier, or was a rat terrier. He was black and white, and so I just had to have a black and white shade for my Cam. He was really sick. If you go back to some of my old videos, he may have been trotting around in them or whining or just doing the most. But he was an old man and he was blind and diabetic, so it was time. But that was a loss that, woo, like sometimes when I come home, I still think I'm gonna see him in his bed, like, you know, struggling to get up and come to the door. You know what I mean? But I miss him. What does Marky want to tell me? That's what he wants to tell me? That's not, you don't have nothing else to tell me?
I saw it to him as my mentor.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I have my iPad.
It's right there. Y'all gonna let me do my video. Now you don't want to have on clothes. These kids. Anyway, black and white Cam, let's get into the shades. I don't need to be getting all sad because for real, it was time for Cam to, you know, go. Looking back on it in hindsight, I may have kept him around. Oh, now they want to close my door. Now that I want to have my tree in the background, they want to close the door. I may have kept Cam around a little bit longer than he needed to be here. And that was, I would say a little, you know, selfishly, you know what I mean? But he was pretty bad off. And I think financially and just financially for me, it was going to be a lot to really try to get to the bottom of exactly what was going on. But he was 13, so it's kind of was like, I'm not sure how much better the quality of his life was going to be. So it just was time. It was time. All right, let's get into this. We have another Sydney Grace shade. This is the shade Midnight. And we also have another Sydney Grace shadow in the shade Velvet. There's a little bit of hard pan there, but it's fine. Probably should have warned y'all that this might be a tad emotional. But let me get into these swatches. And that's how it is when you reflect, you know what I mean? So there we have Midnight and Velvet. I also promise you that this is not gonna be all sad. I promise. All right, so that's January. This was March. This is April, and you see it's a red shade because I got in a relationship this year And it's going good, y'all. It's going good, you know. So now I didn't want to pick just a traditional red, so I had to pick one of my Clionadh shades, and this is the shade Sandblast. This is from their stained glass collection, and it is one of my favorite shades. These, oh, it is? Mm-hmm. These are the guac chips I was telling y'all about. How would you describe how they taste?
100% good.
Go.
Okay, I'm gonna go through.
I love you. He's trying to work his way in my good graces. So here is Sandblast. Here's the swatch for Sandblast. The Sandblast has a red to orange to like this bronzy gold flip. But I just thought that would be a great color for love. So now we have these three kind of neutrally shades. The reason that these shades were chosen for this palette is because as the year continued to go on, my eyeshadow taste started to really change. And I started to just really find this deep love and appreciation for those neutral tones. I don't know, I still really have that. So palettes that I looked at first as boring, all of a sudden became very intriguing for me. Like the Natasha Denona Biba palette. Never had any interest in it. I'm like, everyone talks about Biba, like this classic neutral palette. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, like I love that palette. Two of these shades that I'm gonna show you are from the Clionadh Circle shades, and one of the bundles was the Classic Neutrals bundle, and that's where two of these shades are from. The other is Sydney Grace. So let's get into those three shades. First, we have the shade Britt, which is by Clionadh, one of their Circle Shimmer Shadows. By Sydney Grace, we have the shade Peanut Butter, and this is going to be the perfect transition shade. And last, from the Perfect Neutrals bundle by Clionadh, is the shade Shani. I'm not buying any singles, y'all. I'm not. But these metallics are beautiful, and they are very affordable. Whereas, you know, the stained glass shades, you may be paying a higher price for some of them. Some of them are pretty reasonable, and some of them, you know, they might be like 25 bucks for one shade. The Circle shadows are just beautiful and great quality. The only thing I think I would break my singles ban for is if Clionadh restocked some matte shades. I really would be curious to see how their matte shadows were. If anybody knows, let me know. So there we have Britt, Peanut Butter, and Shani. And you might not be able to see it. Britt has some multicolored reflex in here, but it's not like a glittery shade. And I really appreciate that. And then Shani, while being this kind of antique color, has these silver reflex. And I like that because it's almost like a warm, cool mix. I don't know if this is a warm shade, but you know what I mean. Shani is more in the gold family, so I like that it has these silver reflex. I just think that's a really interesting contrast. Just so you know, Shani is this one, Britt is this one. So I might have, yeah, I think I did swatch them a little bit out of order, but y'all get the point. All right, these last two shades are super special. These were the first two shades I actually picked out. And I think that it really represents that hope. Pantone's color of the year for 2022 is a color that they actually created, and it's called Very Perry. It looks periwinkle, but it kind of looks purple. These are the two shades that I have closest to Very Perry in my eyeshadow singles collection. And I thought it would be great to do one matte and one shimmer. As we get to the end of 2021, you know, we have that hope again for 2022. Now I have to be honest, part of that hope or idea that COVID was gonna stay in 2020, I don't have that for 2022. I do have hope. I'm never not hopeful, but I think I have a more realistic perspective, especially after getting COVID myself and trying to be safe. It's like, this is not just going to go away, but we can hope that things will get better. We can hope that as the collective, like humanity, that some way, shape, or form we'll do what it takes to try to get this under control. Like, I have to hope that, and I have to hope that for us, you know. Aside from COVID, there's so many other things to hope for, and I think that's what these colors represent. And, you know, I'll do a video more in depth on the meaning behind Very Perry, but I think that this shade is to also represent kind of this transition that we're going through. And it's not even so much transitioning back to what was. I think it's transitioning into a new normal. And it's not necessarily a normal that we're all comfortable with, but I just have to think that none of this is permanent. I saw something on Instagram last week, and it was like a wooden ball, and it was two like sets of wooden balls, and one was going like up and down along the path, and then I think one was going straight, and it was saying something along the lines of the one that went further was the one that went through the ups and downs. So I'm just hoping that we will get past this, and that we will, in the end, get farther. Just as a whole, getting farther as a whole. So let's go ahead and take a look at these two shades, and we'll start with the matte. So this is the shade Future, which is by Copacetic Cosmetics. And then we have the shade Extra Celestial, which is by Terra Cosmetics. All right, so here are the last two swatches, Future and Extra Celestial. And here is the whole palette. So this definitely isn't any type of cohesive color story, but as I would say to my students, this palette has a clear beginning, middle, and end, and it forms a complete story. I don't really miss going to work though, but I do really like this story. I like it a lot. All right, so we're gonna get into a look now. Using these shades, I have no idea where I wanna begin, but we're gonna come up with something cool. So let me get my ears and we'll get into it. Okay, you guys, so really fast, these ears are courtesy of Dr. Ash from Dr. Ash and Her Makeup. She got me these for Christmas and they're so cute. I love them. So thank you, Dr. Ash. All right, so right away, I'm just gonna go ahead into Peanut Butter. I think that's just the perfect shade to start with, just to give some color to the, you know, transition area. So I'm gonna take that on the Rephr 15, and I'm using the Glam Light Icing Primer. I'm just gonna start this on that outer crease area. All right, so I feel like that looks good for our transition. I'm kind of stumped with this palette, you guys, that I created. I'm really stumped with what I want to do. I want to do some type of like warm and cool contrast. I think I want to go into the shade Underground. So that's this gray. And I think I'm going to concentrate it like really just right here, almost like inner corner, in this first third of the lid. I'm just going to take a Sigma shader brush and just go in right here.
Mama.
Yes? Yes?
Can I come here?
You can call me here. Yep. But if something goes on with your iPad that you don't like, if there's any crying, I'm gonna take it. Okay, so this is what we are working with right now. Now I'm gonna go into the next shade, which is going to be Sandblast. I'm gonna just keep using the same brush, and I'm just gonna start it where underground ends. Gonna go over it just a little bit. And I do like to try to blur out the line where the shadows change. So I'm just kind of going over it. So there's Sandblast. Now the next shade I want to use is the shade Britt, which is almost like a purple. I'm gonna take a Rephr 14 and let's see how this does with the shimmer, because I'm almost using this like I would do my outer corner matte shade. I'm gonna take it into the crease just a little bit. All right, y'all, now I have to fit one of these Very Perry shades in here. I am gonna attempt to also put this in the outer corner. I just want a little touch of it though, just a little touch of it, or we can just focus it on the lower lash line. That would be too much, like, right? Okay. Oh my God, y'all. All right, let's see. So I only want a little bit, like a little bit. I am concentrating it right now, but I am going to use a different brush shortly. There we go. Okay. Hopefully y'all can see just a little bit better. Now this shade is giving me a bit of fallout, so I am going to get some powder and try to wipe it away in just a second. But I just want to have all of the shadow placed where I want it to be before I start to like blow it out. So I'm just gonna take a clean brush, and I was able to get the fallout, and I'm just gonna try to smooth this out a little bit. You can still see that blue there a little bit. It's way less potent than it looks in the pan. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. And I might end up adding some back, so we'll see. All right, I like how this is coming together. So you can still see that blue there, but it's not. I'm taking more of the blue, y'all. I just think I want a little more. Maybe something like that. We're done with the blue. Okay, so now I want to take the shade Shani, and I'm going to use just a pencil brush that I am going to spray with some setting spray, and I'm gonna have this be my lower lash line shade. Is that what I want to do? I think so. All right, so I just wanted to pull away a little bit so you can see what the look looks like, you know, from a reasonable distance. But now I'm gonna zoom back in because we're gonna get into the inner corner highlight. So I gotta go into the shade Velvet for my cam. We'll put that in the inner corner. All right, you guys, let me know what you think about it. I am going to get some liner and mascara, and I'll be back to close this one out. All right, you guys, so here is the final look. Just to go over the eyeliner, I used the shade Brown Core by Linda Hallberg. It's brown. And then I used the new mascara that I got from Merit. It's called Lengthening Mascara. So that's what I have on. All right, you guys, so that's it for this look and for this video. Let me know what you think about it and continue to give us feedback on this series. Kelly and I have been doing this since August, I think, and it's something I look forward to every month. I think the hardest thing is actually picking out the eyeshadow shades, and I really like being challenged creatively like that. But, you know, I also like using the stuff that I've spent my money on as well. I think I like that even more. So let me know what you think. Feel free to join in. And yeah, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for taking out some of your time and hanging out with me today. Please go over to Keep Beauty Real. Check out Kelly's video and see what her palette looked like, because that's where I'm going right now to look at hers. As always, I hope this was therapy for you, because it definitely was for me. And until I see you again, make sure you are being gentle with yourself. Talk to yourself nice. Stay safe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.